Hey everybody, welcome to Woo². This is a segment of Inside the Wooniverse where me and my executive producer, Connie Diletti, basically talk about anything that you want us to talk about. So here
Anything.
goes. Tell me, Connie, I'm never prepared. What are we talking about today?
Well, today, because if you're listening to this live, being published in 2023, you're in the midst of your vision board challenge for
I am.
2023.
I
Yes.
am. I know how to
S-
talk about that right now.
Oh my goodness, you do. And for anyone who's whether you're in it or not, I mean, the you have such an amazingly interesting take on vision boards that is you say it's rooted in a lot of things that you've read and things that you've experienced, but you also have kind of evolved your process as well. So let's start with what is a vision board?
So a vision board is a tool. So you create is a representation, a visual representation that has both pictures and words on it, like affirmations or things
Mhm.
that represent the vision for your life that you are intending to experience or manifest. That's that old school term, the
Mhm.
old school new thought, no longer new thought idea
Yep. Mhm.
about what you want to bring into your life that year ahead.
Mhm.
I've done one a year for over 35 years. So I don't
Wow.
think we've and my husband and I have done one every year since we've been together. So I have not never done I've never not
That's
had one.
amazing, yeah.
And
Mhm, mhm.
I still do mine old school.
Okay, and so let's put a little pin in one question here because you
Sure.
mentioned intention. And I know in the challenge, because I've done it multiple times with you, is that you talk about the difference between intention and a goal. Can you
Right.
share that with us?
So when you set an intention, you set an intention to experience something. That's how I like to look at it. So I'm
Mhm,
intending for this to occur and for me to participate in. And it's a
mhm,
little broader because when you have a goal and you meet the goal, then all of a sudden you're at a destination point and then
mm,
what? Whereas an intention is an ongoing experience. I
mhm,
intend for this as opposed to I'm going to this place in the future that where X marks the spot is
mhm,
what I'm going for. This is totally different. This is I am choosing and consciously that I am going to have this experience and I can do this in advance of the
mm,
actual experience and I can also be a lot more loose and open to the form of that. So when you set a
mhm.
goal, it tends to be a little bit more. Nothing wrong with goal setting, by the way. I do
Right.
set goals too.
Mhm,
So I want to meet a certain marker by a certain date. But when you set a goal, it's very defined, and you can get into trouble on
mm,
a vision board when you set a goal because you literally are defining it by its form.
mm,
Whereas an intention is much more about how you actualize and how you evolve through having an experience that
mhm,
is ongoing. So it's very organic. It's not defined by its form, it's defined by its feeling state. So there
mhm,
again, subtle, nothing wrong with goal setting, nothing
mhm,
wrong with that
mhm.
at all. But I add the concept of intention because you can enter into the world with curiosity. Oh, I
Mm,
wonder how this is going to appear, as opposed
mhm,
to when you set a goal, like you're going for something very specific.
mhm. And you also talk a little bit within the vision board challenge, but again, you don't even have to be in the challenge just to understand that when we're talking about vision boards, that there when we talk about the evolution of vision boards, that
Mhm.
maybe once upon a time when vision boards and the concept hit the scene, they were very acquisitional, right?
Right.
I want this, 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 this. But the way that you present a vision board and vision boarding is not acquisitional. Can we speak about that a little?
Yeah, so I first learned it. It was called a treasure map, and I
Mhm.
learned it at Unity Church 37 years ago or 36 years ago, because I even
Mm.
remember when I went and saw it for the first time, and I was like,
Wow.
"Whoa, what is that?" Right?
Yeah.
It was taught that God wanted you to be abundant. So
Mhm, mhm,
so yeah, that was about I want this, 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 and this. Very much like how The Secret became so popular, right? It came out of
yes.
this idea that we can manifest or get or
Mm,
acquire
mhm,
any kind of material thing that we want just by the intention of wanting it in some way,
Right.
right? And that's like looking at the universe as Santa. You know what I mean? Like, I'm putting this on the list. I was very good, so give it to me, right? Which is not about that so much
Right.
now. And I think that I'm not the only one that's been evolving through this. But what I feel that we actualize ourselves as human beings. We embody who we are through the out picturing and the relationships that we have with the experiences that we want to have, right? So we're in relationship to those things. And we grow as a result of them. So it's really more important is how are we going to grow and be fulfilled and have meaningful experiences than getting stuff that we think is going to give us the experience, right? Because honestly, what do you want the thing for? And in the beginning, nobody ever asked me that. Why do you want that? It's like, no, I was like, I put it on the board. Like I remember doing a whole board on getting married.
Yes.
And my friends had all gotten married, and I got literally the guy that I'm my starter husband looked exactly like the guy in all the pictures. Like, honest to God, he could been mushed them all together. We would have got him. And I forgot to mention how I wanted the experience to feel, right? So not to say that it was a mistake. It was a learning experience, but so it became very much about the surface. What does it look like? So when you take pictures, that was all it was. Like, and I did manifest certain things. Like I put a picture of a Joshua tree, which I didn't know what it was. I just thought, oh, that's an interesting looking thing. And then my affirmation, I traveled to new and exciting places, and I ended up completely without any planning. I went to visit my friend in just outside of Los Angeles, and we went for a drive, and she wanted to take photographs, and we ended up in Joshua tree. So I was like, what's that sign? Right. So
where are we?
There are times when it will absolutely align like that. And that's why I think it's a bit confusing for people, where I don't want people to think that they can't do a vision board and add very specific things. It's just, I want them to think about why. Like, if you so want this one thing, but it's really, if you ask yourself why you want that thing, it's because you believe that thing is going to provide you with a certain experience. So I kind of went back over, and it's been my experience too, as I've done this over and over and over again. It's more like I've gotten a lot of things. I'm like, but they didn't give me what I genuinely wanted. I didn't find what I was looking for. So therefore I turned it on its head and go, well, let me experiment with this. What if I really got clear about the experience, and then let the universe decide what it's going to match? But I'll still put a picture up because I still want to feel a certain way by looking at an image, but it won't, I'm not going to be attached at all to whether that image is exactly correct or not. It's that I am going to be in a relationship with a certain feeling about myself as a result of experiencing or attaining or, becoming fulfilled in these ways. And then it's like, wow. It can also be added to the descriptors that you think you want. And that's the game. It's like, well, I got what I wanted, really genuinely how I felt, how I wanted to feel from this thing. I thought it was going to come from that thing, but it didn't. Like my perfect example of this is my recording career. This is like embarrassing, but for 20 years on my frickin' vision board there.
Right. There it was.
I actually wrote, I whited out. I put my name on Billboard. I whited out my name, put it in.
I love all of your, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like you have so many amazing examples of your like OG photoshopping, like craft photoshopping. This is one of so many amazing examples. Please continue. So good.
So I cut out magazines and I took Capitol Records out, and I was determined in my head that would be it. And I failed miserably every year, but I'd still doggedly put that on there. Okay, like flap.
Capitol Records.
Capitol Records and all this stuff. And then finally I gave up because it was too painful. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I thought that the music career was going to make me whole, that the experience of being a successful singer-songwriter was going to make me feel fulfilled emotionally and spiritually, that I could take the stories of my difficult past and turn it into something that could help somebody else by them hearing my music. I mean, every musician wants the public to be moved by their music,
Every
right?
artist. Yes, of
As an
course.
artist, and
Yep.
that I am an artist, right? So,
Yep.
so
Yep.
then finally I just gave up. I was like, oh, forget it. Right? So it's just like, what am I doing? After one record deal after another one fell through, literally,
Wow.
the day before, the day after. Oh gosh. So finally I
Wow.
just gave up. And then I met somebody who suggested that, well, why don't you do a meditation CD, which then happened. Actually, I won't go into too much detail, but bottom line is somebody from Virgin Records had heard it. Me and my partner Dina released it just on our own mini label, right? And it became so successful. And then, like just all like organically. And then this guy from Virgin Records had heard it. And then, a lot of different people, my friend and lawyer, Steven, brought me basically to EMI Music,
Yeah.
which was Capitol Records.
Right.
And I got the record deal. But it was 20 years later. I liked going to bed at 9:00 at that point. Okay. I was the thought of what? I have to go play in bars at what time? 11?
Yeah.
Like, I was making very, very good living as an intuitive, like this was the thing that I realized. I was helping people. I was able to share my, experience, strength, and hope. I was also in recovery in a 12-step program all that time. So everything that I wanted my music career to give me, I was already experiencing in different areas of my life. And thank goodness that I didn't get this any sooner, because I recorded my first album and worked with phenomenal Eric Ross, who worked with Tori Amos. I mean, I had the best production team. I'm so proud of the record that I did, really, really proud of it. But I wasn't meant for the business of music. I remember leaving our Canadian version of the the Canadian Grammys.
Yes,
it was snowing. It was our Juno Awards. I was there with I was the teacher's pet, because Dean Cameron, bless his soul, he's passed away now, but he took me under his wing. And a lot of people were resentful of that in the company because I was older. I was 40. That was all they talked about in the press. The EMI took a risk on a mature artist. Because they don't talk to anybody after the age of 28. I couldn't find a manager. It was crazy. Anyway, whatever. But he was so supportive of me.
That's
but there we were. People were snorting coke in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Not him. He was not at all. But I was like really unsafe.
The
scene. I was in the music scene. And so I sat there. We were at this restaurant and I had 2 entire dinners. I just kept ordering food. There was all this wine everywhere. Meanwhile, I'm sober. And I literally turned to Dean and said, I have to go home now. He goes, what? I said, I have to go home now. Please. So I sat a little me at the back of a limousine in all the disco ball colors inside the stretch limo. And there I was, little me, going home because I couldn't. I couldn't go. I just could not go. I wasn't safe. And I realized, I don't think I can do this business. I'm not cut out for it. This is just not, no. So, but I still wouldn't give it up, and it was, but until finally, and then out of the blue, I ended up, I was still doing readings, of course. And then, and then a client introduced me to somebody in London, England. I thought I was going to move there. And then they connected me to Hay House, and basically the rest was history. And I found my calling. Like my calling was I already answered my calling, but I kept thinking it was temporary. But then I got I wrote books, oracle cards, and the rest is history. And I'm still doing music as a hobby now.
But you reverse engineered, like you said, if we bring it back to the vision board, that what you put there, the symbolism. So like you speak about putting things that are symbolic. So if we just look at the symbols, so the Capitol Records, so like a label or the industry, right? Symbolic, and so an industry, the microphone, as in your voice.
That's right.
Your voice is amplified.
Amplified voice. Yep.
And what you then went, like, first of all, yes, you were a musician, and you still are, but then you kind of evolved, or you held the space and you surrendered, you said, stop putting on my board. And then of course, that's when Spirit's like, okay, fine.
Now we're going to
bring her something.
Now we can bring her something to see if she really still wants this. And that's one of the reasons why, because I have proof. I have the boards, I have the proof, I have the experience. why knowing your why for what it is that you want to put on there. Like, why do you want that? Why do you say that you want to experience? Like, why
Mhm.
do you want that thing that you say that you
Yeah.
want on there? Like, what are the consequences of that desire or that commitment to have?
Mhm.
That's why acquisitional boards
Mhm.
come with a lot of stuff. I'm not sorry for the experiences that the lessons that I learned from that, but now I don't want to learn those lessons. I want
Well,
what's best for
yeah.
me.
Now you're like, because you learned those lessons and
Yeah,
because you made boards like this, here you are on the other side saying, "Hey, take a little page out of my book," and that maybe take a minute in your journal, right? Because you also speak about this, take a minute in your journal to really define and really capture and discern, how do I wanna feel? And
right.
then from there, that's the reverse engineering. From there, then, get your images and your symbols that really speak to those feelings that you wanna feel.
Yeah, and the word want is also a tricky one too because
Yep,
desire is only good to start it. Like
the fire starter, yep.
it's really about the calling to something, and so a vision board can really give you a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun, right?
Mhm,
Because you're like,
mhm,
"Ooh, I want that, and I want that," and then what did that do for me and others? It's
mhm,
really about the embodiment of the
mm,
experience and who you become as a result of it.
yep,
Right? So that's the approach that I take is who could we become?
yep,
And also to dive in, why do you want that? Like didn't realize I was coming from a real deep place of unworthiness and lack. And of course, the music
mm,
business did not help with that at
no,
all. I was overweight. I was too old.
mm,
That was I was a woman. I had all those strikes against me.
mm.
That somebody said I was old enough to be Britney Spears's mother. I mean, that's,
It's like and that,
and I was
it's very
blonde at the
interesting
time
because
too. So that
now
was,
there's this such a massive, like, push for inclusivity that it's just
yeah, maybe an old person.
different
Exactly.
times, yeah.
Actually, my Eric and I got back together again, and we were joking around thinking that we would call our band Two Old Farts. Instead, we called
That's
it Social
amazing.
Magic, but now
Right.
nobody knows that it's us. So we decided, oh, screw it, let's just put our names on it.
Yeah.
So because we're a band now, that's so funny. When you do a vision board, you're actually committing to
Mm,
change. You're
mhm,
committing to evolve. You're committing to
mhm,
embody a new, improved, hopefully, version of yourself. Or if not, you're committing to face your demons. You're
mm,
there to face the shadow because once you place that there, who do you need to become in order to experience that? And
mm.
sometimes you have to go back into adversity for you to
Right,
really
what do you need to move
appreciate.
through? Yeah, to get there, yeah.
Yeah. So, it took me a long time. It wasn't overnight, like, oh, I get
Mhm,
it now, but it can be overnight for me now because I've my experience and my
mhm,
wisdom that has hard won. So
mm,
that's why I'm teaching it this way to get people starting from this point. And people are like, well, what about the thing I want? Well, you can put it on there too, but
mhm,
do this too. Like
mhm,
really focus on the actualization piece. Who
yeah,
would I become?
mhm.
And then let the universe pick the form, let the universe
That's
pick
the
the form.
magic. That's the
That is
magic.
the magic. And it's always a big surprise and you can always be
Mm,
grateful. And even and to be honest with you, I find that when hardship comes up,
mm,
because a lot of people think, oh, hardship means I'm doing something wrong. And I'm like,
mm,
that's how we get sharpened.
yeah,
It's the
mm,
edges that bring us that more clarity and the sharpness and the humility that we need
mhm,
to be present in life and to also consider that right now in our lives. I always like to think of compassionate prosperity and the idea that whatever we do is going to somehow help reduce the suffering of others.
mhm,
That's also part of that. So whenever I want something,
mm,
um, I think about, okay, well, why do I want that? And sometimes I just want it because I love beautiful things. Right?
sure,
Sometimes
mhm,
I want to enhance because I've got, my Libra rising and Venus and Gemini and all, I
yes,
don't know, I
yeah,
love beautiful, pretty
of
things.
course, mhm,
But if it's so that's just those are those frivolous things. But for the most part, if I am wanting to experience the success of something, I
mhm,
also have to recognize that I need to be open to all of it getting
Mm.
there, and not to make a judgment on anything, because sometimes you go off on a detour that you need to go on. Like, I went around the bend a couple of times to get to where I am today, you know, and looking back on it, I don't judge anything that I've done as taking a wrong turn.
Right.
It was all good. So vision boards, magical. And they are wild. Like, that's the other thing too, is like, don't not put something on there, because those are the easy things to quote unquote get. And those are the crumbs that it's like, oh, look, magic. Don't give it up. Something exact. You know, and then it's like, ooh. And then you look back on it going, wow, I became that. I really became that person. Like, somebody wants to be a famous guitarist. Well, are you practicing? That's the other thing. You got to make the vision board is the preparation for the action plan.
Yes.
You still have to act. You don't put it on the wall and just go, I wonder what's coming to knocking at the door. You still, right, one step towards the gods. And I think maybe it's 2 steps towards the gods. Step 1, make the board. Step 2, get out the house.
Yes. And start something in that direction. Yes.